Inner Shaolin. This is Sifu's Corner, where we address your questions, your concerns, and any comments that you throw our way that we think are interesting and we want to, engage you on. So we get a lot of this. Actually, I think weekly we get, whether it's a comment on the blog, a comment on one of our videos on YouTube, or a comment that comes through support@innershaolin.com. People want to know, Fu, where does your Wing Chun come from? Because they see it and they're like, I see little things that remind them of little bits and pieces here and there, but they can't really pinpoint it.
Okay. To answer your questions, I've learned different styles of Wing Chun. I've been training with other people in the Wing Chun of how to do this way, to do that way. I've learned under the Wing Chun system. I've learned under the Yip Man system. Honestly, martial arts is all about making the system yours, not someone else's. Okay, we get caught up into lineage and we have to do it like theirs, we have to do it like theirs. No, you have to understand.
About making it work for you.
Right, martial arts always evolved, it's always changing. People are of different sizes, people are different builds, people are of different nature. And the idea is you use the principles to make it work for you. But the way you move about it, that's what makes you your Kung Fu. And if you understand, Chinese martial arts was always named after the person, right? Yim Wing Chun. Was Yang style Tai Chi was on the Yang style, it was named after either people's family or provinces, like the Hung Gar was from the Hung family. They evolved and they changed. You can't see the exact same style from today. Like even Yip Man changed his system.
Right, I was going to say even his different students have slightly different variations.
Yeah, why is it that you have Yip Man who's taught over 100 people and you have people with 200 different stone tao forms? It's irrelevant. The question is does that work for you? Some people do Hawkins Chung, some people do Wing Chun, some people do, and if you like it and it works for you, do that. My system, mainly for my Wing Chun, is the No Dek Na system of Wing Chun. It is not, you can see similarities to Wing Chun, like Wing Chun that you do, but we do variations and differences. Because we're not about sticking to this has to be this way, this has to be that way. Because in the pro combat, it's not going to work. Because if a guy changes the way you play your way, it's not going to work at all.
It's about obeying the energy.
It's about all that energy, and we are always about the energy first. For you to hurt me, you have to use energy. If you hurt me with harsh language, then I'm emotionally unstable. But you can't physically hurt me unless you give me some form of energy, and we're all about the energy. Our Wing Chun, what I always teach, is to play for adaptability. It's not to be refined. It is to be adaptable. Why does some Wing Chun work great against Wing Chun, but then when you fight a boxer, it doesn't work? Because a lot of times, schools who learn Wing Chun, they are designed to fight that particular style of Wing Chun.
Right.
And then when they fight a boxer who don't fight that way, they have a hard time. And if you get too caught up on what is and what is not in terms of this is how you have to be and you can't do it any other way, then you're only fighting that style that you're designed to fight against when you're learning from Wing Chun to Wing Chun. And then you got a grappler who takes you down and you don't learn how to adapt to that type of energy, then you're going to be in trouble. Or you got a boxer who throws a hook punch. I always variate my forms, and I do that because there's always variables in a combat situation. And so our No Dek Na is not a strict Wing Chun in terms of you have to hold your pack like this, you have to hold your Wu like this, you have to tan like this. We study energy, we study how the body works best. A great example is the proper alignment of a wrist. Most people, I say, stick your hand out to the side. What does a straight aligned wrist look like? A lot of people will do this, and that's not, okay? Anatomically speaking, this is an aligned wrist. Your wrist is naturally strong, your arm is naturally strong this way. This is not. So when you do a tan like this, it's not feasible. Your energy wants to come in because of that.
Right.
And to prove the nature of your wrist is if you made a fist as tight as you possibly can, or if I told you grip my hand as tight as you can see she has a natural arc in it. But if you turn it to where most people think it's straight, and I told you, it feels weak.
Yeah.
It's not right. It's not the right way.
Feels like I could get hurt.
We always will improve and change our system to make it better. It's not about saying what my teacher just taught me and I won't question it. You should question what you learn and test it and see if it works. Don't just blindly.
Test and prove all things.
Right. Don't just be blind and say that's what my teacher taught me. That's what my teacher taught him. And because, like I said, if you're a much thicker, bigger guy, where you're supposed to do a tonsil straight in your center, and you're a much bigger guy, and it won't work for you. You have to find your way to adapt it. It's not impossible. You just have to make adjustments. A great example is if you walk on a tightrope, most people say, keep your body straight, try to keep your body over your head, and, your head over your body like this, and so you can walk the tightrope, and that's fine. But I can also stick my butt out to the side as long as I find a counterweight to balance that out. So it's not about being exactly this way. It's about finding adaptability, because not always can you be perfect in what you do. You have to adapt.
Well, you need to be adaptable because you never know who you're going to run into.
A great example is a hook punch, okay? If we do this, and you do this tonsile, and you're supposed to push this, and if he arcs in any way, you're going to get hit. That's why I've read a lot of comments that people say, boxing will always be the tonsile, a tonsile's failure. Because the problem is Wing Chun says to hit that arm away. Well, what happens when he curves his arm? It's going to go right past you. Give me a hook punch again. We adapt. We accept change. We feel for energy. And we learn to control that point. We're not here to stop the punch. We're here to control the punch. Our energy control is about manipulation to return energy, not to overcome it, not to overpower it, because obviously if you got a much bigger guy, it's going to be much more difficult to do. People who punch very fast, very hard, they're going to have a lot more power. And if you're about trying to use power on power, you might not win. So the key is make sure that you are learning how to work with energy, not against energy. Our system is mainly the Ngo Dek Now system for Wing Chun. So you can see similarities because all principal styles will have similarities, but there are different changes.
At the end of the day.
Look at Tai Chi. You got Yang style, Shun style, Wu style, Sun style. You got different families.
But you can see
similarities. Single whip, ward off, brush left knee, but you can see they go about it differently, and it works for them if they make it adapt according to how they do it. Like I studied Wu style. Wu style has a slight lean to them in their brush left knee, but they don't go as far then, so they don't tilt. So they actually bring their feet in. So when they do a slight tilt and brush left knee, they have a tilt in the body, but they compensate that by bringing their feet in, so they don't. And so that works as long as you balance out the energy. You can't say if the Wing Chun's 5 plus 5 and equals 10, and 10 is a perfect number. You can't say 8 and 2 is no good.
Right, because it's
8 and 2 is just 10. So it's all about really making the balance working out for you. But you can't go 9 and 7. That's not 10. If you're past it, it's too much. If 10 is the perfect number, 9 and 7 won't work, but 9 and 1 will. 8 and 2 will. 7 and 3 will. 6 and 4 will. 5 and 5 and 10 and 0 will. And 20 minus 10 will work. If you work those principles, that's fine. It's don't get stuck up in lineage. Lineage is just, to me,
it's like history.
It's history, exactly. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, lineage of a good teacher is a good teacher. You want to pass it, but remember, make that your system. The way I fight is not the way my teacher fights.
Right.
The way my grandfather fought is not the way I fight. The way I fight is not the way my grandfather.
What you've learned and adapted it to.
And you have to make it work for you. Well, why do you think Bruce Lee said, take what works for you? He didn't just say, take what works for me, and then I will show you how to fight. Right. He says, take what works for you, because everybody's body's different. Like I said, everybody's nature is different. The physicality is different. Some people are bigger, which makes them slower, which means that they can maybe hit harder, but they're slower. So don't try to be the fastest guy in the world. Use that strength, the power you create, and make it work for you. Instead of making it like, you're making it bigger, maybe tighten yourself up so you can hit with power that way. So refine and define yourself through the way energy works. That's why we say don't let style define you, but the energy refine you. It's not about the style. It's not about the lineage. It's about body mechanics, and it's what it is. Like MMA today. It's not about style. It's about making what works, and that's what we're all about. And what works for us is we break down energy. We break down how energy works. The universal principle of energy is it always wants to go past the least resistance. So we make it when we connect to someone. We know how to manipulate the energy to make their body structure the weakest. And you say, well, what happens if a guy's so strong he don't have a weak point? Well, if he's stronger than you and you're giving him 100 pounds of force going forward, he gives you 200, don't push him. Guide him out. If a bull's in my way, I get out of its way. I'm not going to hold his horns and try to stop him. But if I have the horns and I can steer it, if you control the horn's head, the horn of a bull, and you can turn it, the bull goes down no matter how big it is. The question is, can you turn it? If you can't, then get out of its way. Right. You have to understand adaptability to accept change. Okay? And that's what we're all about. My lineage, I say, is the Ngo Dek Now. I don't claim it to be under Wing Chun, although I did complete the system. I got the certificate. But it's irrelevant to me. I don't really care about that stuff.
Right, well, it's because you've evolved your Wing Chun over
My
time to
Wing
make it
Chun
your
is
own.
my Wing Chun, and
Right.
your Wing Chun should be your Wing Chun. You know, like I said, how come Yip Man has, like, say, 20 different main students, and
Right.
yet they all do it differently? Why?
'Cause
If
they
you
made
were
it
to
their
teach
own.
it, right, it's supposed to be your own. But they say it's, oh, Yip Man, but it's not, because Hawkins Chun's Wing Chun is not the same thing as Wing Chun's Wing Chun, or
Right,
Wing Yat's
it
Wing
would be
Chun.
exactly the same if
It
it
should
was.
be, if
right.
it was, but yet you see differences. You see
It's
commonality.
inspired by.
Right, it's
would be a good
inspired
way
by,
to
but
say
it's
it.
not the exact same. So don't get caught up in lineage. Find the Wing Chun that works for you. Use the principles, because they all are true. They stand forever.
Right, you know, test them out, and if they work for you and you like what you're doing, then keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, and don't get caught up, like I said, in the lineage of something, because that lineage doesn't help you as a better fighter. You make yourself a better fighter. And so you keep practicing, you keep learning, you test it out, and that's what it should be. And eventually, the Wing Chun should be whatever, whoever you are is your Wing Chun. It's not my Wing Chun, it's your Wing Chun, but you use the principles of Wing Chun that makes it work.
Mhm.
That's what you should be concerned about, not the lineage, not the name, not the style. It's getting too caught up
I agree.
into the name. A word is a word, an action's an action. So don't let the lineage, which is a word, make up for your action, which is what you should be doing. Okay, so
I think that
that's-
answers it, yeah.
that's
Don't
all the
let
best I can
style
say.
define you, let energy refine you. And if you
Yes.
have any other questions that you would like us to address in Sifu's Corner, you can comment below. And if you haven't checked out our 5-day video course and free ebook about the Nodak NOS system, there's also a link to that below as well, so check that out, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.